In the first video, when we looked at completing the square, let's take a wee note of this. We found that generally, when we had something squared subtract something squared, we could rewrite that in the following way. Okay, they would be entirely equivalent, it's just another way to write it. For example, if we had the problem x squared minus 81, well, we know that 81 is the same as 9 squared, x squared minus 9 squared, and now that I've engineered it into a place of something squared, take away something squared, I could then go ahead and write x plus 9, x minus 9. And if I were to multiply that out, I would get back to my original question. But one thing that's really important is to appreciate this starting point here when we had x squared take away a squared. And maybe it might be quite helpful to put brackets around both of these terms. Okay, because when we say x squared, we just mean the first term needs to be squared and the second term needs to be squared. And before we go ahead and have a look at a few examples, we need to examine when a term is, or when an expression is squared entirely. Let's think about the expression 4x squared. What that means is it means 4 times x times x. Okay, so technically it means 4 times x squared. So you'll notice here that it's only the x that is being squared there. So see the expression 4x squared, that is not a squared term. Okay, so we couldn't use that up here. Okay, because the full expression needs to be squared. If we were to compare 4x squared with 4x squared, notice how we've got brackets involved here. Well, that 4x squared means 4x times 4x, which is 16x squared. But it's important to notice here that in this expression, the 4x is being squared, whereas in this first expression, only x is being squared. When we want to use this here, we need to make sure that the first expression is fully squared, not just a single term in the expression, the full expression. And the same would apply for the second expression as well. Okay, so let's have a look at a few examples. We'll just put, and we'll just say factorize the following. Okay, let's have a look. So this is example 4 because the last video was 1 to 3. So let's say we want to factorize 81 minus 4x squared. Okay, so remember we want to see, can we write this as something squared subtract something squared? Well, 81 is a square number. I know that 81 is 9 squared. But this 4x squared, this 4x squared is not a squared term. So I want to rewrite this somehow as something that will be all squared. And the way that I'll have to do that is I'll need to write that as 2x squared. Okay, because 2x times 2x is 4x squared. Okay, just a reminder, 4x squared does not equal 4x all squared. Okay, so we couldn't just put that into a bracket like that over there. Okay, so now if we have a look at our answer over here, we've got something squared, take away something squared. Excuse me. So then we can write our double brackets as 9 plus 2x, 9 minus 2x. Okay, let's have a go at example 5. Let's go 36x squared minus 49y squared. Okay, so step 1, is there a common factor? No. Step 2, do I have a difference of squares? Well, yes, I've got x squared and y squared, but it's only those terms and those expressions that are being squared. I want the full expression to be squared. So I need to think about what squared will give me 36x squared. Well, that's going to have to be 6x all squared. Similarly, what squared is going to give me 49y squared? That's going to have to be 7y all squared. Okay, and now we've got into this case here where we've got an expression squared subtract an expression squared. Then we can go for 6x plus 7y, 6x minus 7y. And if we were to multiply this out, we would get back to our original answer here. Let's go for number 6. Let's go for 25 minus 9w squared. Okay, so we don't have something squared, take away something squared, we need to rewrite it, so that is going to be 5 squared. And here, remember, only w is being squared. I want the full expression to be squared. Okay, so that means what squared is going to give me 9w squared? Well, that's going to be 3w. Why is that? Well, 3w squared, that means 3w times 3w, which is 9w squared. Okay, so I've now got an expression squared subtract an expression squared. So we can go ahead and write this as 5 plus 3w, 5 minus 3w. I just want to show the mistake here. What's the mistake? The mistake that people do with the above question, I'll just scribble this down quickly, minus 9w squared, is they would write that as 5 minus 9w squared. So 5 squared minus 9w squared. And then they would go ahead and write 5 plus 9w, 5 minus 9w. But remember, we've always got this check that we can use to check if we're right. So see if we were to use this check, what is that going to be? 25 minus 45w plus 45w minus 81w squared. So that is 25 minus 81w squared. So let's compare this to the question. Well, look, they're different. Because they're different, it means that this answer is wrong. Okay, so that's how you can use the check. Okay, so the mistake there is that this term here, it should have been 3w squared, because then if we did that, then this would work through properly. Okay, thank you very much for watching.